Hi everyone, how's it going? And welcome back to yet another video during this community month that I'm doing. Today we have a very special guest on board with us today. Some of you might know him from some of my previous videos. It's the wonderful Netrunner known as Sanjay. Hi Sanjay.
Hi. Hi. I'm very excited to be here.
I love your enthusiasm. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So, if you recall, Sanjay did a video with me back in Euros this year, where we did some stats analysis of Euros. That was a very fun video, Sanjay.
Yeah, that was a delight. It was nice to have anybody listen to me talk about corp subtypes.
Yes, I'm sure our viewers very much appreciated that. And more recently, for those of you following my successful demo series, which is basically all of you watching this video, you would also know that I did a successful demo on, was it Hot Pursuit and DJ Fenris? And that idea was all thanks to you, Sanjay.
Oh, that was it was so heartening to watch that video. Both because I think I'm a bit of an egotist, where I really enjoy your content for what it's worth, but my favorite content in Netrunner is content that mentions me, and so that was just the perfect video for me. I really appreciated it, and yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because I'm a bit of an egotist myself. When I read your deck list and saw you swooning all over me, I was like, oh, this is awesome. And
yeah.
And
I think we can talk about it a little more when we talk about the deck list, because I think you, if not for your content, that deck wouldn't have existed. I think it was mainly because of the insights you had on your show, and so it would have been academically and intellectually dishonest not to cite you.
Oh, I can see your academic background shining through there. But yeah, same thing. If not for you, I would not have made that episode of Successful Demo at all. Hot Pursuit, nice card, but it needed your stroke of genius right there. But as you said, we'll talk more about that later. But first, let's dive into recent events. So you, unlike me, you actually attended the Final Worlds Magnum Opus. How was it? It's a nice few days.
It was wonderful. It was just a delightful time. So, in case people don't know, I went to Worlds. I did not play in it. I judged. I actually until the Friday before Worlds, I had planned on playing, and I got an email saying, hey, we had a last-minute judge cancellation. I know, because my initial plan was to judge, and they said they had too many judges. They didn't need any more. And I got a last-minute email saying, hey, we had a last-minute cancellation. Can you judge? Are you still available? And I was very happy to do so. And because that was my first choice, too. So it was a nice surprise. And so that went well, and Worlds was just a lovely time.
Yeah, so that's quite awesome, because I think, you know, in previous events, maybe in previous years, more often than not, it would be FFG staff that's doing the judging. As a Netrunner player yourself, you know, it's quite a bit of a sacrifice, because if you're judging, it means that you're not playing, and playing Netrunner is fun, as what I heard. So yeah, what compelled you to make this sacrifice to judge instead of to play in the last ever Worlds?
So I think judging was something that I've always enjoyed. I think, and every time I've been at Worlds, I've been lucky enough to go to Worlds twice, in 2016 and 2017. And both times I would look at the judges, and I wouldn't necessarily be jealous of them, because I was having a great time. I really enjoyed playing, but just they were doing something that also looked like something I wanted to do. Now, when the article on FFG came out announcing that FFG was losing the license to the game, and that 2018 would be their last Worlds in September, something about it made me more nostalgic for the community, and more interested in getting getting I guess being in that support role rather than getting one more round of tournament play in.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably so hopefully that the experience of Worlds 2018 is not going to be the last that Nisei will be able to come up with some good tournament structures, and I'll be able to do that again. But yeah, so I think, but I certainly didn't know that at the time that Nisei was going to spring into existence. And so I think the thing I was thinking about was just I've always wanted to. I've always been curious. I've always been interested in judging at Worlds, and I think this was sort of my last chance. In fact, after Worlds 2016, I got more interested in supporting organized play in my local area, kind of inspired by the people who judged at Worlds. So yeah, that was kind of what was going on. And I also figured there's at least King of Servers, so I will be able to get some play in.
Yeah, great you brought that up. So you actually did go to King of Servers. How was it, and what decks do you bring?
So it was delightful. I love King of Servers. I love working with my friends on team stuff, and we were Delawareans. We unfortunately had about 6 people coming to Worlds, which is not evenly divisible by 4. King of Servers being teams of 4. Yeah. So we split into 2 Delaware teams. I was on a team with my friend Laura and my friend Ian, the 2 people who got me into the game. Ian, unfortunately, had a last minute not being able to go to Worlds.
Oh.
And we were able to replace Ian, and we were able to replace Ian, and we were able to fill the other two spots with Miles Orbeck, who does some very good alt arts.
Oh.
And very nice.
Yeah, Miles is amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, Miles and Patrick, who is also wonderful.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Miles, better known as MS Beck, as the handle. Yeah, they made some fantastic IDs. I think, what was it? It was a custom Geist and Asmari and something like that.
Oh yeah, at this point, Miles has done a bunch of really cool stuff. He's done an absolutely gorgeous Atom alt art. What he's doing is he gets the IDs printed on circuit board.
Was it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a very good technical background, so I think I only appreciate this at like a 95% level because it's been explained to me. But basically, there's ways to print on circuit board. And it's not made for art; it's made for functional circuit boards. But he sort of uses the restrictions from that to make these very cool alt arts. They happen to have a really nice texture and weight to them too, and they feel very substantial, and they look great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any of them myself, but if you look at some of the pictures that were posted on social media or Reddit, they're amazing. If he has any stock left, I would highly recommend you viewers to get your hands on them. And speaking about this art, it's a very nice segue into Artist Colony, which I believe you were involved in.
Oh yes, so one of the things
before that,
should we backtrack to I think King of Server stuff? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, you were probably about to do that, but let's just, most of our viewers don't really know about this Artist Colony thing, so let's, introduce it to them. What exactly is Artist Colony, and how are you involved in it?
Yeah, so this is also something that's sort of been brewing since, in my understanding, since like 2015, 2016. There's a sort of growing sentiment, or growing, I guess, movement is too much, but more and more artists that play Netrunner have been making their own custom alt arts. They've been making just like, I made I think it started with IDs because those are the simplest to use an unauthorized card in your deck.
Yep.
But then people kind of went wild. And the artists that do this, a lot of them are organized on the Netrunner Slack, on the Artist Colony channel. Incidentally, if you either make art for Netrunner or just want to talk about art for Netrunner, come find us at Artist Colony. It's a pretty nice time. I personally got involved. I'm by hobby a cartoonist, and I had kind of not been doing a lot of art lately, and I decided for the StimHack Online Cash Refresh tournament to offer prize support in the form of being able to commission me an art. And so the winner of the tournament and I think whoever got voted best, most interesting deck both got to commission an art for me. And so I've been just sort of giving away commissions as prize support. I've been doing that a little bit at the local level too. The very first person to win was my friend Laura. She won locally in the Delaware tournament, and she doesn't care about art at all. Yeah, it's very funny when so she can sort of recognize card art, but it means nothing to her. You can she does horribly on your art quizzes.
Oh.
Just awfully. She still tries, but it just sort of a blob of color to her, all those frames. But anyway, I initially made I think Neurith Hub for her that sort of has all the combos referenced to it visually. Like there's a breaking news and boom and everything like that. It was a while ago. But anyway, so the Artist Colony is just this absolutely delightful internet community, and I think possibly because of what the people who came before me were doing in terms of doing a lot of cool art and just the mass, it's sort of snowballing a little bit where we just have so many people doing wonderful unofficial alt arts for the community. And one of the nice things at Worlds 2018 is that we sort of got together and had a little mini bazaar in the lobby of the Radisson, and just King of Servers was also very fun because all alt arts are legal, unauthorized or not, and so it was just show off your wild and wacky swag, whether it's legal or confusing or not. I think very highly of fair play, and I think sometimes if you use unauthorized alt art, it can be bad because your opponent might not recognize it. But and I think I might have even gotten some competitive advantage from all my alt arts during King of Servers.
But hey, it's a king. I mean, it's a relatively casual tournament.
Oh, for sure,
just there for fun. And yeah, it's really lovely hearing that. I mean, I'm sure it was a very prime opportunity to exchange all arts yourself, since everyone was all congregated in one room.
It was wonderful.
Yeah, that's really awesome to hear. I mean, yeah, most people just hear about the main event and the people that made top 16 at Worlds and everything, but in reality, there's so much going on that most people just don't hear about. So that's really amazing. And glad that I got to talk to you about this. It's not very well known, this Artist Colony. It's a nice little corner of the Netrunner community, but going very strong, and hopefully as Nisei continues forth with the game, hopefully we can see more from the Artist Colony as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So with that, so that was your experience of Magna Opus 2018. Anything else you want to add in closing?
I suppose you had asked me about what decks I played for King of Servers, and we're going to go into the Jesminder deck. I also brought, I think, pretty fun Acme deck. I was playing baddies to try and force people to hit some universal connectivity fees. There's some weird timing structure things about that because you need to do it during the encounter. But you just have to pre-res the baddie. I don't think it's worth it. I think it's not worth the 3 influence, but it's a fun trick. That deck also did pretty well.
Yeah, I can imagine. Data wards are terrible to break, and
I think the thing about Acme is that everyone worries about the universal connectivity fee, and it's a great trick. It's a really mean thing to do. But the reason that you really play Acme is for data ward. Just being able to have a ridiculously taxing barrier, especially in this format, feels great.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess it was a bit of a sad thing now that you mentioned Acme, because throughout Worlds 2018, there wasn't that much Acme. It was far eclipsed by all the competitive CTM out there. I'm sure Acme has its place, but well, we didn't really get to see it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think so. So the other thing with not competing in Worlds, I didn't really think of it much as a sacrifice. So the one thing I think I sacrificed is that I think I had two decks that were, if not the best decks, I think were at least, I think I had well considered the meta, and the decks, the theory of the deck at least made sense for the meta, and so it was a shame not to get to test them.
Yeah,
and I think with Acme, just big barriers. It was such a good time for horrible barriers, I think.
For sure. I mean, it's one thing to bring unconventional decks to the table. It's another for them to be unconventional but good, and yours is very much the latter.
Oh,
right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, well, at least you got to show it off during King of Servers. I hope you all did well during the tournament.
Yeah, I did pretty well. I think I was at least the best of our Delaware group. I went 3-2 with the Acme deck and 4-1 with the Jesminder deck.
Woohoo!
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very competitive in the last round. I just really wanted to beat Laura, who was my teammate. I just wanted to be the best on the team, and thankfully I was able to do that.
Nice. Well, all right. So, well, achievement unlocked. And yeah, with that, let's move on to the other side, Jesminda. So we've been talking so much about this Jesminda. For those of you who don't recall, in the previous successful demo video, we played Jesminda with Hot Pursuit, so you can negate the Hot Pursuit tag, and you can even DJ Fenris into Lisa, and that can be your draw engine for the rest of the game. So that shell, that 3-card combo was all Sanjay's work. I just added some, good so-called good cards in it, like Employee Strike, I think, and I don't really remember. But anyway, yeah. So I refined the deck list a bit, played with it a bit, and then after, fast forward to I think it was a week back or something, went on Netrunner DB and saw you post an updated version of your deck list. So a couple of changes, but the biggest standout change by far was that you switched from the traditional Shaper Breaker suite to a Stealth Breaker suite. Now, before we discuss that, I have to give you huge mad props because using Stealth in Jesminda is 10 out of 10 for team. Like, the team is spot on. Like, of course, she's the girl behind the curtain. Like, Stealth is exactly what Jesminda is. Far more than a live streamer, as you said in your own deck list. So I have to agree with you.
I don't know if I mentioned in my deck list. I think people have come up with justifications why Smoke is a stealth runner, and I think the best analysis they have is that because she's streaming, sometimes she gets paid in Bitcoin, and so she can use Bitcoin to have credits that the corp can't trace. It's still not good. There's a lot of mental energy to come up with this, but I should mention that there has been some technology and development in that realm. Oh, I should also mention, just to going back, I'm certainly not the only person to come up with Hot Pursuit and DJ Liza with Jesminder. I think a lot of people went there. I personally love Jesminder and was playing her before there was any reason to, just Maya and equivocation kind of stuff. So I don't want to take too much credit for that.
Well, fair enough. Still, you were the one who led me onto it. Well, back to the Stealth Breaker suite though. I think one amazing thing is that if you just float this idea to me, I'll just completely dismiss it because I'll be going like, my knee-jerk reaction would be like, you're playing Stealth out of Smoke? That sounds suboptimal. Why would you ever do that? So yeah, I'd like to hear your deck building process. How did you come up, or rather, should I say, how do you convince yourself that playing Stealth in Jesminda was actually a viable option?
So I think the process by which I got here was less, what is the best Stealth deck, but I was just, what is the best Jesminder deck? And so I was watching, actually, to credit you again, I was watching your video sort of breaking, you updated your breaker tier list in a very nice video you made, sort of analyzing what breakers were good against the ice that you're seeing right now. And one of the things I noticed in playing my Jesminder deck, I was really into Angolo and some of the more efficient breakers that Shaper have. But even though they're more efficient, they just cost, 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 to get through some of the more taxing ice, like a DNA tracker or a Nancy. And that was too much. It's not too much to, challenge a scoring remote through that, or to hit some big multi-access through that. But it's too much to, play dirty laundries and hot pursuits through those. It just takes a lot. Now, if there's a DNA tracker in front of HQ and you really want to get into HQ, hot pursuit's great for it because you get compensated for your expense, but you can't make money doing that. And so during your list, or during your video, you talked about how good some of the stealth breakers are against the very ice that I was most being vexed by. And so I just thought, oh, nice. Let me try that out. So the reason I started with Jesminder rather than Smoke is simply because my goal was to make a Jesminder deck. Now, one of the things about that is that even though Smoke is an incredible stealth runner, stealth breaker suites used to be a thing before Smoke came out.
That is true. Yes.
Yeah, like there's a really cool Andy Smoke list or Andy stealth list.
Yep.
I think you were always able to. It was a little hard to set up, but doable and powerful. We lost the very charming stealth hardware to rotation, but I thought with Netmerker and cloaks and all that, and ghost runners, I could maybe make it work still. And so I sleeved up the list, and I really liked it. And I think one of the things about being Jesminder versus Smoke is that you have you can shut down a few scary things that Smoke has trouble dealing with. Data Raven's a good ice against Smoke. I think asset spam in general, especially out of CTM, and that's not fair to call it CTM asset spam. I don't know what you should call it.
Asset-based decks, yep.
Asset, yeah, good, and especially CTM. Smoke, you rush out an early Ares, or shouldn't call it Ares, it's,
Yeah, AR enhanced security, yeah.
Yeah, you rush out an early AR enhanced security against Smoke, and Smoke's in trouble, and Jesminder doesn't care that much. And so I thought that the meta was going to be a lot of D and a lot of CTM, and I thought Jesminder had a pretty good matchup there.
Yeah, I mean, even though Jesminder cannot avoid CTM's tag, because, apparently the playtesters found it too powerful for some reason, but it still puts in very good work against CTM in general. That is true.
Well, yeah. Well, I know from playing against one of my best, Ian, the person one of the two people who got me into Netrunner, loves Argus, and a lot of people love Argus, and Jesminder is hugely rude to Argus.
Wow,
She just shuts down the ID. Sometimes, but at least it's good against Argus, and I feel like she would have been really rude to CTM. I don't know if it was necessary to put that text on CTM for competitive reasons, but just for positive play experience reasons. I'm already employee striking them, like I shouldn't permanently employee strike them.
No, now that you mention it, I never thought of this before, but yes, Jesminder just outright hard counters Argus. It's like having an employee strike up the entire game, or like having a film critic up, but you don't need clicks to liberate your agenda off film critic. That's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Now Argus, of course, their ability is just one of the ways in which they're trying to out-tempo you while they score under threat of killing you. So you don't have an auto win against Argus by any means, but it's still nice.
It's really nice. Yeah.
It's still nice to say, oh, well, what do you want? The 2 meat damage or nothing? And you can make the right choice.
Indeed. Right, so you posted your deck list and got quite a fair few likes, fair few comments as well. some of the comments have suggested certain changes, and perhaps ever since posting the deck list or after playing the deck, you might have thought of certain changes. Are there any changes that you would think you've thought about making to your deck list?
Yeah, so I think I agonized over slots in this deck, and this is the list I came up with. And I think so. There's three influence I'm spending on Paperclip right now.
Yep.
That while it's good, Paperclip's a great icebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
I just know that it's not absolutely necessary because I'd have two really strong. Well, I have two strong Fractor options in Shaper. Blackstone, the Stealth Breaker, and Lady,
yep.
Of course. Now the thing with Blackstone is that I think the absolute bane of Blackstone's existence for a stealth deck is 4 strength barriers, the most common of which is IP block.
Yep.
Now one of the things with IP block is that Jesminder doesn't care about it. So I feel like she has a sort of unique ability to play Blackstone that Smoke doesn't really have, because Smoke needs to break IP block. Jesminder can just say, okay, trace me, I avoid the tag, I'm not tagged, and go on through, which is really interesting. Blackstone also has a bad matchup against Kiyashi, but what doesn't? And the other option, of course, is Lady, which is an incredible icebreaker. It's got great numbers, breaks everything beautifully, but requires a few more deck slots to support it.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't able to figure out the deck slots to liberate to make that work, and I still haven't. I haven't found a sort of configuration that I really like. But I just know that influence is movable, and yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, on my end, I'm looking at those 3 influence pips, and I'm like, even if you liberate those influence, I'm also not sure what exactly you'd spend them on that justifies, switching up the deck slots.
Yeah, I suppose I could go for I could play Switchblade, which is a little more stealth hungry. So that's I'm a little wary of doing that, because this deck, I think, generally doesn't have problems setting up such that it has the stealth it needs, but it's not as flush with stealth credits as Smoke is.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things against playing against Smoke and playing against stealth, especially before Smoke came out, is that you sort of think, okay, let me tax them. I can tax them out on stealth. They only have 4 stealth credits. Let me put 3 sentries in a row, and then they can't get through with Switchblade. But against, I think, modern Smoke, that's never a consideration. She always has enough stealth credits. It doesn't matter. Maybe if you're early and you're rushing, that's a consideration, but it's really hard to lock Smoke out of stealth credits specifically. I think this deck, I haven't had to deal with that too often, but it can come up.
Yeah, and anyway, you are, I wouldn't say you're swimming in money, but you have enough money to spend on using Dagger as a killer anyway, with Hot Pursuit and even Shadow Net to recurse some of your economy if needed. So
yeah.
Yeah, I think Switchblade is overkill in a sense. Unless
I agree.
Yeah, unless you're expecting a lot of tour guides or something.
Yeah, I think Switchblade also is less of a consideration for meta and deck building considerations, and just Switchblade feels great. It feels incredible to just pay nothing for everything.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's mostly the deck. I don't think there's too much else to say. Anything else you want to say about your deck?
No, that's what I wanted to say.
Yep.
Also, the Cold Reads are real. The other really nice thing is that Cold Read is just a really good anti asset based card.
Yeah, it's like a mini stim hack.
Yeah, I love it. It's a stim hack for cowards. Like me. You don't want to take brain damage, and you want to let your poor programs take the front.
Yeah, and in a pinch, it can really help fuel your stealth if needed. Absolutely amazing. But very difficult to use as well. Sometimes you don't know whether to fire it into a server or when to hold it back in case you need those stealth credits. So I think that's something we can pay attention to. When's a good time to play the Cold Read? I think that's one of the trickier cards to use in your deck. So
yeah.
Yep, looking forward to the playthrough. Let's see how we can make this whole deck work.